Well, hi guys, Victor here, Test Automation Architect for Typhoon HIL. I'm going to go very quickly here on a testing example using our new framework, Typhoon Test. And just to explain briefly, Typhoon Test is our framework for test creation, running, and reporting that we provide out of the box. We combine several very powerful and flexible open source tools that were really battle tested, and we add what's necessary for effective power testing of your systems. We encourage you to check our Typhoon HIL webinar that we recorded a while ago that has a lot of in-depth information on that. So now I'm just going to jump to the examples that we have. So let's do a quick test for the system that Dushan has just shown you. What could we test on this? Basically, we have this little spec that we need the controller to maintain the speed at the reference at 300 RPM, and based on the torque variation that can be from 0 to 0.5. And I'm going to show you a test example that implements some nice features and some good practices on writing tests. And it's also an example of a data-driven test that is a parameterized test. So for that, I'm going to open Typhoon Test IDE, which is our graphical user interface for creating and running tests. I'm going to open the folder where we have all of our files. Just a moment. Open this one. And I'm going to open here our example test. So I'm going even to make this a little bit bigger. You can see this is a very simple test. It's not that big. And just to point out the important parts of it. Here we are importing the required libraries, including the Typhoon HIL API that we use to interact and test with the real-time system running on the hills. We have a reference here for our tests, some paths, and we have this setup function here in our test. It does the setup and teardown of the test. For the setup here, we are going to do what we typically do manually. We're going to load our model, load our settings file to the hill. We're going to start the simulation, and because we don't, at this point here, we don't really have a communications API to that controller to start and stop it, we're going to do this manually by clicking on the user interface for MyWay controllers. Then we're going to run the tests and do the inverse after they finish. We're going to turn off the controller and then turn off the simulation. But the test itself is here, so it's going to basically do what? We're gonna start by capturing some signals in the system. In this case, the torque and the speed of the machine. We're gonna wait a little bit. Then we're gonna change our torque set point to this torque value. Then we wait a little bit more, get the captured results, and then check if the machine mechanical speed that we captured is constant around that reference speed of 300 RPMs with a tolerance of 1%. So let's run this very quickly as well. I'm going to see here, yeah, that's what we're going to use to start and stop the controller, and I'm going to run here using play. So you're going to see that we have in real time here what's happening, and now I have to turn on the controller 10 seconds. And then you can also keep seeing here in real time all the steps of the tests, all the function calls that we have, and you can see that the first already is passing. The second one, you can see here the different set points that we define very easily here in this parameterization of the test from 0.1 to 0.5, 5 values between those. Let's give us our 5 tests here. Now I have to stop here the controller, and we're going to see our simulation results into the interactive report that we have. So we're opening, and you can see in this interactive report that we have our 5 test cases, all of them passed. You can go here and filter out by status, and you can see details on each one of those individual tests. So for the setup, we can see all the steps that we take for setting that up, all the parameters, also for the teardown, stopping simulation, etc. But most nicely, we can see the captured results. So we captured speed and torque, and we can see here on the report basically the behavior of the speed, here in radians per second, and here the torque set point that we changed. So you can see the behavior, it seems to be working fine, but our verification is the most important part, and it is passing. And you can see here that actually the RPM, the speed, is within the 1% limit that we defined for our test. So this is a very brief demonstration of how easy it is to write and run a test with Typhoon Test. We encourage you to check our, again, webinar on Typhoon Test for more information. And I hope you enjoyed that. That's basically what we have for today. So Sam, I guess it's back to you.